Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Mongoose Max Hawaii, the channel. Today, we're going to look at the top 5 reasons that the mysteries of the Maui tragic wildfire are kind of bunk. Now, before we get started, I gotta tell you, I got a degree in sociology and a minor in anthropology. Yeah. There's belief systems, like the Hawaiian belief system. They had tikis at one point. This is the kukailimoku, the god of war. You don't want to be around that kind of stuff. Here's something for the Philippines. This is a real one. Anyhow, what we want to do here is acknowledge that you can believe what you want to believe. Yes, freedom. Believe what you want to. Decide what you want to. But I also have a degree in education, which means that I was almost general science teacher. I had an affinity towards physics, and I had to deal with this. Physics. This is like what's known as more hard science. You know why? Because it's hard. But I also have an affinity towards the interesting, legendary things. You know, this is Codex Atlanticus. This is from Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks. Ah, yes. It's transcribed into Italian, so it's a slow read, but I like the pictures. Well, we're looking at these guys. I mean, pretty good for 1500s. But what about Sir Isaac Newton? And anon, we stand on the shoulders of geniuses when it comes to science. So, science rocks. So let's get to the top 5 mysteries and try to debunk the heck out of them. Can't believe I have to do this. Here, let's have a little thing of time. Time? Ah! Not that much time. Thank you. Let's get right to it. Well, how about an explanation? When there's tragedy, there's fear inside the general population. There's fear inside people. And when people are afraid and they're fearful, they often think irrationally. And what you want is reason. We're talking about science like in hard science doing the math, which is the language of science. We're talking be science-minded, rationality, reason. But when people are irrational and a bunch of conspiracy theories come up, I want to do people a favor and try to nip some of this in the bud. Well, people also have this, I find, me too, fear of ambiguity. I gots to know. I need certainty. I want to know the answer. This why with no answer bugs the heck out of me. So people fill in the blanks when they don't got an answer. And thus, the void is filled with these weird things that are coming up. Some of them are, I don't know, misunderstanding of science, and some of them are, I would say, promoting that false flag conspiracy stuff, which is, I can't stand it anymore. So, let's go with number 5. Fire tornadoes and earthquakes. Yes, fire tornadoes. Science says yes and no. Why? Because tornadoes don't just form out of fire. They don't just, it's not Sharknado. We don't have, there's a come, watch out for the fire tornadoes. Fire tornadoes happen when there's already a big fire, like a forest fire. Air expands, winds whip up, and it whips around. Little vortexes, whirlwinds. That's fire tornadoes. They're fire with, they call them fire whirls. So, did the fire tornadoes cause the fire? No. The fire tornadoes or whirlwinds of fire were in the fire after the fire started. Earthquakes. Maui has a big mountain called Haleakala, Hawaiian for House of the Sun. It's a big dormant volcano. But the next over island, the big island of Hawaii, has an active volcano. Active. It's been erupting, and the ground beneath shakes and rumbles, and they call it seismic activity. It's associated with the volcanic activity. So they registered a couple of 2.6 on the Richter scale earthquakes around the fire time. Did that cause the fire? No. It's part and parcel of the big islands right over there. It rumbles. 2.6 is nothing. There's like 4.0 earthquakes and you don't even feel it. We're surrounded by the Pacific Ocean. There's a lot of buffer. Let's go for number 4. Dora the hurricane. Dora the horror, as I say. Now, Dora was some 700 miles to the south, which would be kind of that way where I'm sitting. How can it was coming up this way and it went down that way? How can a hurricane of category, it was big, kind of big, 4, 3, whatever. How can a big hurricane, but it's 700 miles away? How could that produce winds up here? Well, weather over the Pacific. The Pacific is a big ocean, so it's flat globally. It doesn't have mountain ranges. It doesn't have continents in the middle of it. This Hawaii archipelago, island chain, is in the middle of the North Pacific. There's like almost nothing else around it. And there's some islands down south, like Cook Islands, Tahiti. But you don't have continents. You don't have the Rocky Mountains or the Appalachian Mountain Range. There's no buffer between the ocean cools and heats slowly, land rapidly cools and heats. You don't have that. But the weather has big circular currents and pressure systems. So the pressure down there and the pressure up here combat and push against each other, making a pressure around here, whipping up the winds to pretty big size, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and such. That's significant. So there was big wind, and it was caused by storm system, hurricane, that's a big storm system, affecting over here. So when people say, how can the hurricane possibly way over there do something specifically on Maui way over here? It's a conspiracy. No. It's called weather and meteorology. The person who said this is saying, why did they call them meteorologists? What do they study? Meteors? Are they lying to us? Stop it. Meteorology is the study of climate and weather. We should be praising these people and scientists now. But you gotta look at a lot of stuff going on. The weather up here got big winds, and it was because of down there. Down there made big waves that came up over here. So, was that a conspiracy? No. It's called weather. Number 3. Now, this one is a little bit more conspiracy style, so excuse me if I get harsh. If you want to believe these things, go right ahead. I personally am going to stay with science and science-minded people. No, I mean, well, legends and anthropology, sure, but you know. Number 3, the green agenda. Now, we have somebody in our Toastmasters class who's an expert on trying to have institutions change over to renewable or green energy. This is a good thing. Reliance on fossil fuels is going to run out and we're going to have a problem. So go electric, go green, go renewable, solar power, wind power. These are good science developments. But there's a little political agenda behind who's backing that with big Congress money and who's backing the industry and corporation with big corporate money and all. So it's political money. It's all money, politics. Who's backing? Who gets the money? So green agenda costs money to develop R&D and putting it in application. So they don't want to do that. So green agenda gets a bad connotation. Now, our governor happens to be a doctor, and his last name is Green. Many people, companies who get on board with renewable energy are green this and green that. This guy is saying, it's a conspiracy. No, it's coincidence that everyone's sticking the name green in their company name. But this guy's got green agenda as something that it's a big plan to annihilate certain cities. Let's wipe that city off the map. Because we can't do it to Honolulu, it's just too big. But we can do it to this little town here, Lahaina. So let's wipe it off the map, cull the population of the city, so we have that area so we can develop the smart city and control people. Because it's all part of the green agenda. Common sense and rationality plus science says no. Green agenda, renewable energy is a good thing, and they should be doing that kind of thing. And the reason it hit Lahaina is because a lot of the old buildings were wooden. The place was dry as a bone, because the humidity was like zilch, nothing. There's no moisture in the air. There was high winds, and it was very hot. It's like a tinder box. Do you ever try to make a fire? You know, you get the tinder going. Tinder box. And once the electricity, maybe it was electricity, but once the fire spark goes, and it could be just someone smoking, careless, reckless, or homeless people out in the woods. Wildfires, dry season, it's a constant cautionary beware. So it's not an agenda from the renewable energy people to wipe out Lahaina. It's like, oh God. I gotta take a break. Number 2, space lasers. Now, some people I know enjoy these types of wild theories, and I mean, Bigfoot and UFO ghosts, hey, let's go. But, the dark agenda of the green thing or space lasers. Look, space lasers don't exist. Okay? Now, I'm not saying lasers don't exist. In fact, I got a couple of toy lasers somewhere. Lasers exist. Military lasers exist because, look, the military's always developing weapons. You know why? Because it's a war machine and they're the military. So they have these things called directed. It points in one direction. Energy, because lasers are made up of light, electromagnetic energy waves that are in sync. It's a laser. Energy beams, so they can point a laser at something, but you ever see those high-powered lasers that might pop a balloon or light a matchstick? They're trying to make cannons. The military, sure. And sound wave ones, low-frequency sound wave, all that. Yeah, they exist. They do that stuff. But to have a laser from outer space going, we're going to target you like Dr. No and James Bond. Zzz, we got Lahaina with the space laser. Zzz. I gotta say no. Somebody did. A person named Milani. Milani posted a picture of what looks like a laser pointed into a forest with smoke coming out. Now, I don't know what that is. I mean, I'm not going to be totally closed-minded. I mean, maybe the military? I'll give you that. The military does some dark stuff. But, it could just easily have been a light going up as opposed to a light coming down. Someone could have been beaming upward, then downward. But I would say, in general, space lasers don't exist, but camera tricks do. Who's to say that's not a doctored photo? Well, whatever the photo is, it's not they're zapping us from above. That I say for sure. I could consult the ghost of Leonardo da Vinci, but he'd probably agree with me, and I'm not going to go necromancy on you. And, for debunk reason number 1. People are addicted to these conspiracy theories and false flag operation. It's the blame game. Everyone's got to play the blame game. Ambiguity. I gots to know there's someone got to be blamed. So they just make stuff up. They find these little things and they connect dots that shouldn't be connected. And it's pretty flimsy stuff. Come on, when you really look at it, it's flimsy. Correlation does not always equal to causation. Man, don't fall asleep in science class. Hey. Conspiracy, addiction. Stop it. Stop it, children. And that's it for now. 5 debunks. Why the forest fire that turned into a town. It's a little town, but it's a great, great loss of Lahaina and surrounding areas. And they're still trying to put stuff out. And it's still dry. It hasn't rained. After that, it hasn't rained for a whole week. We're hoping rain. Because any dry, arid place with a lot of tinder and just a spark. I mean, I saw in the newspaper that they're going to sue the electric company. Like maybe it was a spark or maybe they did something wrong. I'm not sure. It could be faulty wiring. Could have made some causes, but it doesn't explain different areas. It was just really, really dry. And there's people living outside thinking, I'll make a campfire because I'm homeless and I'm special. They make campfires and they're not responsible. And people smoke and throw matches and people light fires intentionally. It was, after all, an anniversary of, it was 808 Day, Hawaii Day. It was an anniversary of Hiroshima going down. Now, people could be getting high whipping themselves up with fairies and space lasers and the green agenda out to get them, and they're all getting high and drunk and such. And they could have intentionally, maliciously started fires. These are realities. The conspiracy stuff is not. So please, I beg of you, love science. It helps us. Love people. Lovey. But don't go into that dark side of paranoia and suspicion and stuff. There's real explanations. And that's where peace and tranquility comes from, even though it is still a massive tragedy. We can still make sense of the world with God willing, and people coming together. And that's it, my 5 debunk of the mysteries. It was just really dry and the wind was whipping up. And how it targeted over here and over there. Wind funnels through the topography of the land. So we're getting a channel, like the bellows of a furnace. And that wind amplified the heat of the destructive, tragic fire. So we should stay with science and medicine, the good stuff, and help each other out and try to live a better life. Aloha.